What an absolutely magnificent day it is here in the nation's capital of Canada, Ottawa, Ontario, as the Ottawa Fury FC hosts the Pittsburgh Riverhounds in what is the first home match in a few weeks for Ottawa Fury FC. Gord Smith alongside myself, Tyler McDonald, and Gord. Pittsburgh Riverhounds coming into this game second in the Eastern Conference, and really that's led by Nico Brett.
One of the hottest teams in the league right now, 4 wins out of their last 5, 12 points. They're sitting second in the Eastern Conference. And of course, Nico Brett is one of the main reasons that they are as high in the standings as they are right now.
For Ottawa Fury FC, the reason why they're on the uptrend as well is their goalkeeper, Maxime Crepeau. He's been playing phenomenal. Seems to be making one unreal save, a game-saver save every single game.
Yeah. You know, there's a couple of times you look at it and you wonder how he's making these stops, how he's able to get to those balls. And he's just doing such a terrific job. 8 clean sheets that we have seen this season. He's sitting second in the USL, tied with 8 in the entire USL, and Nico Brett tied second in goals, as we see from the graphic on the screen there. So he obviously is someone that the Fury are really going to have to keep an eye on here this afternoon.
Like we mentioned, first time back home for Ottawa Fury FC in a short while. They have a long stretch at home now. How important is it to kick off here?
Well, the talk right now is all about football coming home, and football has come home for the Ottawa Fury finally. After something like 5 road games in the USL, it's very important. They're back in front of their home fans. They're back in front of players that they're familiar with, teams are familiar with now, having to come in here and try and take points off the Ottawa Fury.
We'll take a quick break. When we come back, Gord Smith will be alongside AJ Jakuback on the call of today's game. This is Ottawa Fury FC Soccer.
Proudly Canadian, we employ over 5,000 Canadians. And nobody knows more about furnishing Canadian homes at the guaranteed lowest price than us. Saving you more. It's not just a slogan. Saving you more is our obsession.
Gabriel Pizza, proud supporter of local sports. Gabriel Pizza, home of the bigger, better pizza. 310-7777 or GabrielPizza.com.
What do you live for? Is it for your crew? For overcoming obstacles? Live for what you want. So what do you live for?
And welcome back. AJ Jakuback alongside Gordon Smith, and we're set for this one today between Ottawa Fury FC and a very hot, speaking of hot, it's hot outside, but a very hot team that the opposition is today, and that's the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. And Gordon, I mean, we're talking about 2 teams that that can really play well defensively. The team with the best defensive record in the league. They come in with 4 straight clean sheets. They've got the most in the league this year with 11. Ottawa's got 8. Yeah. So I guess we're talking about a game where if someone gets the first goal here today, that's going to be a massive goal.
Yeah, first goal wins pretty much when you look at it. But I think there will be goals in this game this afternoon. It is hot, it is humid. Players will start to get a little bit fatigued as we hit the 60-65 minute mark. It then comes down to the coaches, how they make their decisions with regards to substitutions. If they're able to bring someone on. Some of the players that we see on the bench, certainly for Ottawa, can put the ball in the back of the net. Very interesting how this match plays out today.
Let's have a look at the starting 11 for both sides today. It's brought to you by Gabriel Pizza, Ottawa's bigger, better pizza. Gabriel Pizza, 310-7777. Daniel Lind, the keeper for Pittsburgh. The back 4, Todd Pratzner, Hugh Roberts, Joe Greenspan, Jordan Dover. Then you've got Andrew Lubon and Thomas Van Kaziel. It's Canardo Forbes, Nico Brett, and Cristiano Francois with a lone striker up top, Romeo Parks in this 4-2-3-1. For Ottawa, they go with the 4-3-3. It is Maxime Crépeau in goal, a back four of Obasi, Meir Jaguar, Adekora, and Edward. In midfield, you've got Kevin Oliveira, Chris Manella, and Jamar Dixon. And up top, it's Adonijah Reed, Tony Taylor, and Carl Howarth. So for Ottawa, it's an important game. I mean, they're right in the thick of things. There's not a lot separating 3 through 12 in USL, 8 points separating those teams, but Ottawa is in the 12 spot, and a lot of teams to catch. They got. I don't like the schedule. I don't like. You asked me what's the over/under on rants today. That's number one. I don't like the league putting a team away for an entire month of June when, guess what? The weather isn't very good here to start and end the season. So anyone watching this game from the league offices, smarten up. And next year, how about a game in June at home so they're not playing 5 straight league games away from home. But nonetheless, they got through it. They're still in the mix.
Yeah.
And now this is an important stretch. The one thing we can remember is when they did play a home game eons ago in the league, they won 3 of their last 4 at TD Place. This is going to be a tough proposition, though, here today. Yeah,
this Pittsburgh team, they look a big, strong, physical team as well, probably pace right throughout the lineup. It looks like, from what we're seeing on the lineup, it's setting up as a 4-2-3-1, but I think that may change over the course of the 90 minutes as the game twists and turns. We're in the dog days of summer, so to speak, here now, AJ. It's a situation, we're in the middle third of the schedule, and this is now the meat and potatoes of it. You start dropping points to the teams ahead of you, it really makes it difficult. It's bad enough dropping points to teams behind you, but when you're trying to chase after teams like Pittsburgh and Louisville and Indy 11, who the Fury had a massive win against on Wednesday, 1-0 with that own goal helping them out, it sure makes a difference. But you look at the hot teams right now at the top of the standings: FC Cincinnati, Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Pittsburgh, as we mentioned off the top of the show, 4 wins, AJ, in the last 5. So a terrific return for Coach Lilly, making sure that he's getting the best out of his starting 11 on a regular basis.
Partly cloudy and 29 degrees here at kickoff as we're underway at TD Place. Fury moving left to right in this first half with their home black and red kits, black shorts, and the white shirts for Pittsburgh as they move from right to left. And just off the bat here, Ottawa's got a corner in the second minute. Captain Carl Howarth will come over to take this.
Well, the one thing we keep talking about, this Ottawa lineup, but to be successful, you've got to get that pace down these flanks. Adonijah Reed, Carl Howarth have to be 2 of the most important players for the Fury on the field here this afternoon.
Right-footed in-swinger coming up from Carl Howarth from the far corner flag. Here's the delivery, and it's headed outside the 6, but a left-footed shot takes a deflection from distance, and that's going to be another corner. Boy, dangerous chance there for Ottawa.
Well, it wasn't the best of the defensive headers. You see the ball get whipped into that front post area. It's nicked away almost just off his thigh, I believe, and at the edge of the box, Oliveira had a terrific shot. Unfortunately, took a deflection.
So they'll do it again. And this time it's headed clear for an Ottawa throw as Carl Howarth steps up to take this. Fury come in 12th on 21 points. They're 4 back of the last playoff spot held by Penn FC, a team they'll see next Saturday. So you can see just how important this stretch of matches is for Ottawa. But again, just 1 back at Tampa, 2 behind Bethlehem, 3 behind Charlotte. Those are the teams 9, 10, 11. 7 and 8, they're 4 back at New York and Penn. They're 5 back at Charleston and 6 behind Nashville, who sits 5th.
And I think the one thing, AJ, that stat, or all those that you just read out, is a lot of parity in the USL. I mean, you look at this middle third of the standings from 26 down to 21 even. You know, you get 5 points basically separating 6 teams. And that's wonderful to see in a league that's obviously wanting to grow, obviously a league that wants to attract other teams to come in. I believe there's quite a few teams coming in 2019 as well. So great to see. It's wonderful football. You got a chance to come out and watch it, folks. Definitely come and do so. We'd love to have you out here, certainly in the nation's capital.
Eddie Edward with the header just outside the Ottawa 18-yard box. Now Adekora for Obasi, and he'll clear it away from danger. As Tony Taylor steps up, the Panama international, moves this forward on the right, but Pittsburgh able to gain control. Pittsburgh on 31 points. They do have 2 games in hand on the Eastern Conference leaders. That's FC Cincinnati, who lead the league on 35 points. Pittsburgh 31 points in 16 matches, just 1 loss, 20 goals for, 7 against. That's by far the best in USL, and they also have the most clean sheets in USL with 11. Ottawa and Nashville with 8 each. So this is a team that's tough to break down, and that goes back to the head coach and Bob Lilly, a guy with 18 years experience at this level. He coached Montreal, Vancouver, Detroit, and Rochester twice. You look at, there's a large contingent of Rochester Rhinos in the side today. 5 in the starting lineup, 1 on the bench. And of course, Onwo Bassi played for him at Rochester as well for Ottawa. So Bob Lilly's a guy, it doesn't matter who you talk to that's been around at this level, probably the most highly respected coach in USL, and a team that's always difficult to break down.
Yeah, and it's a situation where you're familiar with players, AJ, that you've coached in the past. It makes a huge difference when you're trying to attract them.
Here's Howarth now making a run into the box, goes down, and it will be a goal kick in the 5th minute, 0-0 for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds.
Well, talking about former players, Dennis Chin is a former Ottawa Fury player that is sitting on the bench this afternoon hoping to get in, I'm sure, to get one over on his former team, AJ. It's always nice. We saw Colin Falvey at the death with a block on Wednesday to preserve that 1-0 lead, 1-0 win as it turned out for the Ottawa Fury. And I'm sure Colin enjoyed going back to Indy and able to play with his new old team, so to speak, a second stint here with the Ottawa Fury.
Obasi plays it back to the keeper, Crépeau. And Ottawa will bring it up from the back here in the 6th minute. Sends it forward into the Pittsburgh half. Obasi goes after it as Oliveira goes down. Referee says play on. Referee today is Yusri Rudolph. His assistants Daniel Below and Melissa Snedden. The 4th official is Miriam Marcotte. As Francois moves it wide left and Pittsburgh looks to attack. Now they get it across at the back. Greenspan, it comes wide on the right. Dover, he's a Canadian, and that goes out for an Ottawa throw. Jordan Dover played one of those 5 starters that played with Bob Lilly in Rochester last year at right back, a Canadian. Lone Canadian on the Rochester squad as here comes Tony Taylor with the run. Moves it wide left for Adonijah Reed. Now to Oliveira, steps on it, but still maintains possession and gets it back to the halfway line for Obasi. Now it's Mayer Jaguar. Cross for his partner in central defense. That's Nana Adekora. Plays this wide right for Eddie Edward. Adekora launches this forward towards Taylor, and it does get to him, as this is going to be played out for another Ottawa corner, their 3rd of the match here, and we're only into the 7th minute.
A lovely ball played through from the back there. Taylor's first touch was excellent, bringing the ball down, just couldn't get beyond the defender as it hit the ground, but a nice long ball trying to catch out the back 4 of the Riverhounds.
Right-footed out-swinging corner from the near corner flag from Howarth, delivers it, and it's headed away for an Ottawa throw.
One thing we're seeing, a Pittsburgh set up in this 4-2-3-1, the 3 that are playing behind the main striker are playing fairly compact, AJ, right almost down the middle of the park. When the opportunity exists, either Obasi on this left side or Eddie Edward on the far side, we will see wide open completely. If that ball's able to get to them quick enough and they can get activated into central midfield, it may make a difference, providing excess numbers in the middle of the park for the Fury.
Another Ottawa throw here is Obasi will, no, they're calling a free kick, so Obasi will get that back inside his own half. Mayer Jaguar for Adekora. Sets up center circle, and now Thomas Mayer Jaguar over the top towards Adonijah Reed. Dover able to clear it out for another Ottawa throw.
Well, that could be a fair old battle here this afternoon. Dover against Reed down this Ottawa left side, and every once in a while you will see Carl Haworth and Adonijah Reed switching up with each other, trying to see if they can get the better of the defender that the other one wasn't, and it'll be interesting to see how Dover and Reed battle here this afternoon.
Dixon for Edward. Now ball on the right that just has a little too much on it for Carl Howarth to keep in play. It's a goal kick, 9th minute, 0-0, Ottawa against Pittsburgh here at TD Place. And a very important month for Ottawa Fury when you look at the league and league positioning. 4 points out of a playoff spot, but also the Canadian Championship. Just a week and a half away from Toronto FC coming to town for that semi-final tilt. First leg, the second leg a week later at BMO Field in Toronto as it's played back to Crépeau, and he had to be quick off his line to send that out of touch for a Pittsburgh throw.
Yeah, he must have got a call to get it back to Crépeau, but the striker was coming in very late. And as that ball was rolled back to Crépeau, a few gasps there that the white shirt might get there before the goalkeeper. As it was fairly safe and cleared away by Crépeau.
This one's not cleared, and Van Keziel play it back, and it comes back to the big central defender, Joe Greenspan, who hasn't been on the pitch at all this year for a goal against 466 minutes and no goals. That's quite the record for the former Colorado Rapid.
He's a big lad as well. We saw him coming out earlier on when they were going out onto the field. My goodness. You certainly wouldn't want to get into a battle with him with regards to trying to win balls in the air all afternoon if you're Tony Taylor. Get it on the deck or get it over above him and use your pace to get beyond him.
10 minutes gone, 0-0 here at TD Place. The throw for Ottawa. Obasi chested down by Tony Taylor, but Pittsburgh gains possession. It's played back to Dover, and he'll get it back to the keeper, Daniel Lind. 8 clean sheets for Daniel Lind, tied with Maxime Crépeau, his opposite number, and Matt Pickens of Nashville, all on 8 clean sheets this season as Rochester brings it up from the back. Mention the schedule for Ottawa.
Have you mentioned that, AJ?
Yeah, I'm just going ahead. I'm moving forward. You've got Penn FC here next week. Just in terms of the league, it's Pittsburgh, Penn FC, Nashville, Louisville, and Tampa Bay. So 5 straight
quality teams
at home.
Yeah.
And then when you factor the Canadian Championship in there,
the 6,
again, this is 6 home matches and 1 in Toronto. And what a month for Ottawa Fury to see if they can pull a shock, as they did last year at home against TFC. Couldn't get the job done against the eventual MLS Cup winners in the second leg at BMO Field, but
and CONCACAF finalists as well into the bargain. So
yeah,
it was a good run.
And again, the league matches in there makes this such a crucial match, such a crucial month with not only the Canadian Championship, but just what they've got in the league to try and take advantage and make this a fortress at home, like they did with 3 wins prior to the last home defeat against the Charlotte Independents.
Yeah, it was a nice little run they went on, wasn't it? And they were able to start to force themselves up the table for the longest time in that sort of first 5, 6, 7 games, AJ. They were down at the bottom along with TFC too. And that really was, people were a little bit surprised at that. But we know what happens with Ottawa at the start of the season. They always face 4 or 5 games on the road. The way it was set up this year, new coach, new players, new system. It just takes so long for your chemistry to get going.
Oliveira able to get the ball, and then he's tripped up for a foul and a free kick about 30 yards out.
Well, Carl Howarth will come across for this, but it's a little bit far, I think, for Carl to have a shot directly on goal. We're seeing Giguère coming up, Eddie Edward, the lone defender, staying back. Nana Atakora at the back post, so the height that Ottawa Fury may have in their lineup is now making their way into the 18-yard box. And it looks like it'll be Oliveira just with a chance to float this into the back post, give the big lads a chance to attack it in the penalty box.
So free kick here in the 13th minute for Ottawa, 0-0 the score. And Kevin Oliveira will deliver from 30 yards out. Left of center. Referee blows the whistle, and here comes the delivery from Kevin Oliveira towards the back post. It's headed towards Taylor, but cleared away, and an important clearance as Ottawa will have the throw.
Well, that was a well-worked set play because obviously it was on that the ball was getting played to that back post area. Atakora was able to get away from his defender. And when that ball was played back in towards the 6-yard area, AJ. Unfortunately for the Fury, it was cleared away. Number 6 there, Hugh Roberts, was in the right spot at the right time, or a Fury player would have been able to get a shot possibly on target. But nice set play by the Fury.
It is a throw, and now a second throw as Carl Howarth wins that. Select is the official soccer ball of the USL. For the latest Select products and special offers, please visit SelectSportAmerica.com. You can receive free shipping on orders over $50 as Ottawa works it into a dangerous area off this throw. Here's Adonai Jareed back to Onwo Bassi, and they'll push it back to the center circle, Mayer Jaguar. Thomas Mayer Jaguar over the top on the left side for Adonai Jareed. Near the corner flag, keeps it in play. And little dummy there from Oliveira, who thought Obasi was closer than he was, and he was not. And so Pittsburgh will look to counter here on the right-hand side. Here's Nico Brett with a ball into the penalty area, and a shot here from Parks, and that will deflect out, and it will go out for a goal kick here in the 15th minute. The best attacking prowess that we've seen so far from Pittsburgh.
Well, everything about that counter-attack was pinpoint perfect, except for the final touch. It's a wonderful run by Brett down this right-hand side. A terrific ball whipped in to the edge of the 6-yard box, and his first touch was good by Parks. The second touch, unfortunately, just got away from him. Maybe a little bit of pressure from a defender put him off, AJ, but a wonderful break down the right-hand side. The Fury are really going to have to be wary of that here all afternoon.
Headed here by Nana Adekora into the center circle, looking for Jamar Dixon. As Pittsburgh gains control. Great tracking back there from Adonai Jareed to win it back for Ottawa. And Obasi will launch it down the left side with both Reed and Taylor making runs. Taylor comes up with an edge of the area. Now to Reed, and that's headed clear by Greenspan. And it comes free to Cristiano Francois as Pittsburgh makes a run down the left as they get to the halfway line. Here's Francois. And now they'll settle it down here at the halfway line and push it back as we head down to Tyler McDonald.
Thank you very much, AJ, and head coach Bob Lilly of the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. A couple of messages toward his team so far. One of them is them being a little too deep playing in terms of, well, really in all scenarios, their back four have to push up the field a little bit more. And also they'll be using those high crosses coming into the back four of the Ottawa Fury FC more throughout the game. They like what they saw in that first attempt, and we look to see that continue throughout the rest of the game. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Tyler. As Pittsburgh still in possession here at the back. Pratzner for Roberts. Now it comes back to Greenspan.
And that point Tyler just made as well from Coach Lilly. You look at the Fury trying to play some long balls very early here in this game, AJ, and we had a couple earlier on down the right-hand side. Now we've had one or two down the left for Taylor and Reed to chase after. I just wonder if maybe in the scouting they've seen something with the back four, either at the full-back position, AJ, where maybe they want to exploit that down the channels.
Yusri Rudolph coming over, and maybe a bit of a warning for Tony Taylor as he attacked that header and got the body of Greenspan, and he's going to need some treatment. 17th, now the 18th minute here at TD Place, 0-0.
Well, this is the fourth meeting between these two sides. Pittsburgh has already 2 wins and a draw in those games, so the Fury have never beaten Pittsburgh over the course of their USL life, and obviously I'm sure that's something they'd like to possibly change here this afternoon.
Not only that, they've never lost to a Canadian side. 11 unbeaten when you include their games against TFC2 as well. So Ottawa looking to change that here today. A lot of streaks on the line. Pittsburgh's streak of 5 straight unbeaten, 4 wins and a draw. Again, 4 straight clean sheets. Unbeaten in 11 against Canadian clubs. Unbeaten on the road this year. That's they're the last team that hasn't lost on the road. 3 wins and 4 draws. So
and the last 5, as we said, 4 wins and that draw for the 13 points. I think earlier on I'd said it was 12, but it's 13 with that draw sandwiched in between the 2 wins. So they're the form team right now in the Eastern Conference, AJ, and if the Fury are able to take 3 points off them, or maybe even a point, I think would be good for them as well. That really would, start this homestand off on a positive note. Last thing you want to do coming back after a big win on Wednesday is to drop 3 points. So it's settled in quite nicely. Both teams have had some forays into the attacking third either side of midfield, and you just hope that a lot of that continues. Again, it is fairly hot here, and some of the players will start to tire out, but it'll be all about the substitutions at that point with the coaches making the moves.
Ottawa throw coming up here in the 19th minute, 0-0. You can get a player's perspective of all the action around USL every Wednesday as the Tampa Bay Rowdies' Jack Blake hosts the Blake Down. That's on the USL YouTube channel. On this hot day here in Ottawa, Pittsburgh able to gain possession. Through ball from Brett. Doesn't get to Parks, and it is a free kick for Pittsburgh, middle of the park, and they'll take it quickly as Francois has it out wide on the left. Francois with the cross, and Crépeau on the edge of the 6, able to come out and grab that and prevent any danger.
Well, you look at these two teams, obviously, we remember the Fury game down in Atlanta was suspended just minutes before half-time with lightning. Riverhounds themselves, their last game was a 2-hour lightning delay, and they ended up winning out 2-0 against North Carolina. So both these teams having to face adverse weather conditions, see it out. The Fury, I believe that game will have to be replayed at some point down the road, or at least picked up possibly from the 43rd minute or whatever it was that it was stopped. But you start getting into the summer months, AJ, and the weather, what we've seen certainly in here in Ottawa over the last 2 weeks. I mean, we've gone to a humidex of 47 degrees and some days. It's just excruciating with regards to trying to play football out there, and fair play to the lads that are out there doing their best to do the job.
This will be a goal kick for Ottawa. 21st minute, 0-0. USL's official Twitter feed keeps you up to date with news, live game updates, and highlights from around the league 24/7. Follow @USL on Twitter. Goal kick here from Maxime Crépeau. As he launches this into the Pittsburgh half. Comes back to Adekora. Plays it towards Taylor, headed down. Comes across to Adonijah Reed, but he gives up possession. And now a run here from Nico Brett. Plays it wide left for Francois. Edge of the 18. Makes a run towards the byline and wins a corner.
Again, a nice little break though. Brett cut inside instead of going down the flank, cut inside to central midfield. When the ball got played across, he had that overlap with Francois, but good play by Eddie Edward, just staying with him, not allowing the speedy winger to get beyond him. Just stuck a leg out and it went for a corner kick. But the warning signs are there that there's a lot of pace in this lineup.
Francois, great delivery, and what a save by Crépeau. Off that header, Francois with the delivery. I think it was Greenspan who got his head to it, and now it's 1-0. Just like that, Pittsburgh has opened the scoring. They couldn't score on the corner, but they get one here, and it's
I'm just trying to see who actually put the ball in the back of the net. It was a lovely finish. Number 6 it was. Hugh Roberts.
Yeah, Hugh Roberts, the defender.
Oh, that a tremendous save by Crépeau off the original header from the corner kick, AJ, but when the ball broke out again, played back into the danger area, and it was Roberts, the defender, as you said, quickest to react, nipped in front of the Fury defender, and unfortunately the ball ends up in the back of the net for a 1-0 lead for Pittsburgh here in the 23rd minute.
So Fury with some work to do, and this is not the easiest team to break down, as we've talked about. Certainly don't want to be playing catch up against Pittsburgh, but that's the state that Ottawa's in right now, down 1-0 against this in-form Riverhound side. Well, Cristiano Francois certainly showed his class there, A, winning the corner, and B, with the delivery on that corner from the near corner flag. And here's Francois again trying to keep this in play and won't be able to. It will be an Ottawa goal kick, down 1-0 in the 24th minute.
Well, to get on the end of that, it needed to be a greyhound, never mind a riverhound, the way that ball was rolling away from him. But there we see the ball getting whipped into the box. A terrific header, it has to be said. Crepeau's reaction, a wonderful stop. He'll be disappointed that the marking wasn't as good and as tight as it needed to be on that second ball getting knocked back into the penalty box, AJ.
That's why they pay you the big bucks for little comments like that.
Oh, you like that, did you?
Wide on the left, Adonijah Reed with 2 white shirts on him. And it will be a Pittsburgh throw. Not a lot of space against this Pittsburgh side. When you get the ball, there's white shirts on you right away.
Yeah, and those two holding it. At time when you look across the way that they're set up, there's actually 5 at the back. It's almost like a 5-4-1 formation when they are defending, and that's what makes it so difficult to break down, because there are no open channels. There's nothing down the middle, there's nothing in the channels, and there's nothing down the flanks. So basically what you're doing is you have to work nice little tight 1-2s, find that pocket between the 4 and the 5, and if you're able to work a 1-2, Oliveira, Reed. So when you start playing long balls like that now, it's going to get frustrating. The heads start to go down a little bit for the Fury. They've just got to stick with the game plan. Get the ball on the deck, get the ball to Oliveira, get him. He really hasn't been involved an awful lot here inside these first 25 minutes, AJ, and he's a player that turns the screw an awful lot for the Fury, brings Haworth, brings Reed into the game. We just haven't seen enough of it so far from him.
Canardo Forbes now to Greenspan. It comes to Dover. Here's Greenspan now. Hugh Roberts, the goal scorer. Wide left, Pratzner. Here's Pratzner now. Obasi able to win it back, and he'll play it to the keeper, Crepeau.
And that goal for Roberts is his first point here in 2018. 13 games played, 789 minutes, 0 goals, 0 assists, 0 points. So he's finally got himself on the board, AJ, with regards to joining his teammates on the score sheet.
And here's Cristiano Francois with the ball, trying to spring Parks, and an important touch by Adekora. And Keazil. And Ottawa is able to win a free kick here inside their own half.
Well, Francois has looked, for all intents and purposes, the best player on the park so far here this afternoon. He's bright in attack. He's doing a good job getting back to help out on defense as well, AJ. But every single time he gets the ball at his feet, it's electric. You know, you think something special is going to happen. A bit like Adonijah Reed here for the Ottawa Fury. Get the ball at their feet, take on defenders, and see what you can create for your teammates with a ball into the box.
Asian under-23 international, and again one of 5 starters in this Pittsburgh lineup that came over from Rochester, where Bob Lilly was the coach for the previous 4 years and 7 total. Fortunate to lose Rochester, one of the kind of rock franchises in USL, going back to the days of when Montreal and Vancouver were playing in USL.
And there was those natural rivalries as well with Toronto and that sort of certain area. Certainly, I think it was a few of the supporters groups went down to Rochester for a road trip. It was, how far away would Rochester be, AJ? About 5 hours?
About 4.
4, yeah.
I looked on it. It was actually briefly closer than going to TFC2.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, that depends on the border and your weight there, but
and probably a lot more atmosphere and a lot more fans as well, because unfortunately, TFC just really not getting a lot of support out, and unfortunately for them that they've got a situation where, you know, you had that postponed game earlier on in the season on March 31st. It's now going to be replayed from looking at the schedule, September 22nd, way down at the end of the season for the Ottawa Fury. So an early game against Toronto FC that they possibly could have looked at to get their first point of the season. It took a little while longer to come, but it doesn't really make any difference now in the grand scheme of the things.
Let's go down for an update. Pitch side, here's Tyler McDonald.
Thank you very much, AJ. And coming from the Ottawa Fury FC bench, Coach Nikola Popovic looks a little frustrated in terms of the way Ottawa Fury FC are executing their passes. And from down here, it seems like the passes that Fury have been making forward seem a little too forced, trying to find a gap that just isn't there, and that's where they're not connecting and not finding the opportunities to really build in terms of offense so far in the first 30 minutes of this game. Back to you guys.
Well, the reason the gap's not there is exactly as we talked about 5 minutes ago. When the Fury are in possession, there's 5 men dropping into that defensive line, and there is absolutely nothing, unless you're playing the ball up over the top, AJ, there is nothing. When a Fury player looks up, gets his head up with possession of the ball, there's about 6 or 7 white shirts ahead of him, and it's making it so difficult to try and create something. Excellent point by Tyler from what he's obviously seen from Coach Popovic.
Mayor Giguère back to the keeper, Crépeau. Now Adekora. Launches it over the top. Taylor going after it and wins a throw. 30th minute. Ottawa Fury FC 0. Pittsburgh Riverhounds 1. Eddie Edwards steps up to take this throw. Deep inside the Pittsburgh half, gets it back to Adekora near the halfway line. Here's Thomas Mayer Giguère. Wide left on Wobasi. Mayer Giguère. Cross for Adekora just inside the Ottawa half. So we've played a half hour here at TD Place. Fury down 1-0 as they get it back to the keeper, Crépeau. Here's Chris Manella. Diagonal ball left, headed away by Dover, right to Obasi. On Obasi for Ottawa. Back to Mayer Giguère.
That's good possession here by the Fury, but again, there's just no penetration in behind this back 5, and it's just becoming so frustrating when you get forward, AJ, you've got to play the ball 25, 30 yards back because you're not getting that penetration.
Goes wide right towards Carl Howarth, and they rule it didn't take a touch off the Pittsburgh player, so it will be a Riverhounds throw.
I think one of the frustrating parts, obviously, for Coach Popovic, because in at half-time, 31 minutes in, you really haven't gotten Carl Haworth and Adanaja Reid involved in your attack at all, AJ. A lot of it's been played in central midfield. Even Jamar Dixon, who's trying to get forward, I think, down that right channel, isn't really getting involved much at all from a possession standpoint in the attacking third. And I'm sure at half-time there will be a little chat possibly, but how are we going to change things up? You know, they're really packing this back line, so other than hoping for set plays and long balls like this, AJ, it's not really working out for them.
Mayer Giguère over the top towards Taylor, and nothing doing there as the keeper Lind easily scoops it up. Pittsburgh will bring it up from the back.
And the big lad, I think, is it Greenspan? A couple of times he's just bent over there. I think that collision that he took earlier on maybe working against him. You see him a couple of times now. He plays the ball and he's looking to get air back into his lungs. He's looking to try and maybe get some time that he can recover. And I just wonder if maybe at half-time he may be someone that might be looked at as having to come off simply because he's injured or he's carrying a little bit of a knock that he's picked up here in this first half.
Here's Francois. Going down the left again, so dangerous, Cristiano Francois. Now to Canardo Forbes. Forbes with a ball towards Dover, and this will go out for a goal kick. 33rd minute, 1-0 Pittsburgh.
Well, you can certainly see what's making Pittsburgh successful. Obviously, we've talked at length about how they defend, but when they're in attack, they're always looking to play that diagonal ball if they can, and if not, they're getting the ball to Francois, they're getting the ball to Brett, and just allowing them to try and take defenders on. If you get in those 1v1 situations 30 yards from goal, AJ, you're sucking defenders out of the middle of the park, you're bringing Giguère out to the left for cover, you're taking Adekora out to the right for cover, and you're leaving a 1v1 situation with the big striker, Romeo Parks, in the middle of that area.
Header won there by Jamar Dixon. Couldn't get the second ball, but Dixon wins it back, plays it wide right. Flag is down. Carl Howarth trying to cut inside the penalty area. And again, so many white shirts in between himself and Tony Taylor as he looked to get the cross in. And it deflects to the keeper, Daniel Lynn. But good work from Jamar Dixon to win that ball back and create a half chance for Ottawa.
And it was a lovely first touch by Carl, but when he got his head up to look in the box, there was two red and black shirts against 6 white shirts. On the outside of the 18-yard box, Oliveira had taken up a spot. Carl just had no alley whatsoever to get that ball played through to any of them.
If you're looking for exclusive video content and photography from across the USL, make sure to follow the league's official Instagram account. That's at USL Soccer. Fury with a free kick. As they work it wide left for Onwell Bassi, ahead for Adonai Jareed. Edge of the 18-yard box again, 2 white shirts in his face, gets it back to Manella. Now Adekora.
Oh, just a lapse in concentration there from Eddie Edward as that ball got played across, as the Fury were just trying to move from one side of the park to the other side and maybe change the angle of attack a little bit. Adonai Jareed, we saw that nice run, AJ, to the edge of the 18-yard box, and again he had to turn away from the 2 defenders that were marking him, and it ends up the Fury tried to recycle over the far side, but it broke down.
You can keep up to date with all the best social media from around the league as Kelsey Steele hosts Off the Post. That's every Friday through the league's Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram feeds. 36th minute, 1-0 Pittsburgh as Ottawa in possession just inside their own half. Get it forward to Oliveira. Now to Manella, wide right. Carl Howarth. And couldn't get past Lubon, and Ottawa will look to work it up with possession again as they get it back to the keeper, Crépeau.
Well, one thing we're seeing is with Dixon pushing up on that right side and Oliveira pushing up on the left, there's such a huge gap now between Manella, who's playing as the holding midfielder, and your 2 attacking midfielders, and that's just allowing Pittsburgh the opportunity to say, okay, we'll let you play that, but they'll just fill that space in between there with 3 white shirts, and when they break, AJ, it's very, very tight for the Ottawa Fury to try and get Dixon back, get Oliveira back to help with the cover.
Another Fury throw here in the 37th minute. If you're looking to see which teams are hitting peak performance in the USL, find out every Monday afternoon when USLsoccer.com power rankings are released to see where your team sits after the most recent results.
Well, we'll look at the Fury's last few games here. As we'd mentioned at TD Place, the last one, certainly Charlotte Independence. It wasn't a bad performance at all by the Fury. Just a goal that went against them. But before that, as you'd mentioned, a draw with New York Red Bulls. Atlanta United defeated them 2-0. Bethlehem Steel 1-0, and then Toronto FC 2 with a 3-0 win. So they've been playing some nice football here at home. Unfortunately, this afternoon, this Pittsburgh team is really showing their mettle as one of the top teams in the USL here in 2018, and by all rights certainly deserved of their lofty standings in the Eastern Conference.
Oh, good ball for Oliveira right up the middle, 20 yards out. Goes down, referee says play on, no foul. Comes back to Jamar Dixon. Now to Eddie Edward. Trying to take on Francois. Forward to Carl Howarth, 2 white shirts on him. And now a free kick goes against Adonai Jareed in Ottawa. So
well, we talked
that looked like frustration right there from Ottawa.
Well, we talked earlier on about how physical and big this Pittsburgh team does look, and that they're winning every 50-50 battle. They're shrugging Fury players off left, right and centre, but I think one of the key things is a lot of the second balls that are coming out from the box, it's going to a white shirt, whether it's in attack or whether it's in defence. The Fury are working hard, they're certainly puffing hard, that's for sure, to try and get beyond this back five of Pittsburgh, but it's just so demanding physically, AJ, to be working as hard as you need to on a very, very hot day like this to break down a team that has their noses in front, 1-0 in the 39th minute.
Greenspan across for the goal scorer, Hugh Roberts. And Kaziel. Now Pratzner over the top, headed almost out of touch by Edward, but Cristiano Francois keeps it alive, and that's great work by Eddie Edward to dispossess and then win the foul against Cristiano Francois, who's been, for my money, and I think yours, the player of this first half.
Well, he had absolutely no right to get out on that ball as it broke all the way out to the touchline, but just sheer will and pace got him out there, and when he tried to go one-on-one with Eddie, it was a wonderful defensive play, as you'd mentioned, just standing his ground. He was getting some support and help coming in from his left, which made Francois' task a little bit more difficult, but you are 100% right, AJ. He's been the best player on the park here by a country mile this afternoon, just in his invention, in his brightness, in his attacking prowess. He just wants the ball every single time.
Well, it's been that kind of day. The free kick going straight out from Maxime Crépeau, leading to Pittsburgh throw. They have another here as we're 40 minutes gone. Pittsburgh leading 1-0 on a goal from Hugh Roberts as we send it down to pitch side. Here's Tyler McDonald.
Thank you very much, AJ, and some word coming from the Pittsburgh bench and Coach Lilly trying to get his team and reminding his midfielders that you don't have to pressure the ball, we don't have to release the ball right away. We can hold it, wait for the right options, and see where the gap will open up in the Ottawa Fury defense. So just a little reminder coming from the Pittsburgh bench. 5 minutes left to go, plus added time here in the first half. They've been playing very well, a team where they seem a lot more composed and a lot more secure with the ball so far in this game. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Tyler. So free kick here now, about 40 yards out, left of center for Pittsburgh. And over the ball is Andrew Lubon, the ex-San Francisco Delta. Have some teammates on that team on Ottawa here today, as Kevin Oliveira has possession. Didn't get good connection on that, but fortunately for Ottawa, Onwo Bassi read that ball well, but his ball does not reach Adonijah Reed, so one step forward, one step back for Fury here today.
I think Adonijah Reed was the wrong option on there, AJ, because Taylor had broken away nicely down this left-hand side. I think Obasi just needed to run with the ball a good 5-10 yards, force the defender to commit towards him, and then Taylor would have been off to the races right down this left flank.
Here's Greenspan. Out of Pratzner.
And Pittsburgh will be more than happy just to maintain possession here, AJ. Pass it around central midfield. Not overly worried, but forcing the Fury to come on to them. And then as Tyler had mentioned about possibly exploiting some gaps in the back four of the Ottawa Fury. But right now in attack from open play, AJ, we just haven't seen enough from the Fury. Handball there, claimed by Francois.
Edward plays it forward, and this will go out for an Ottawa throw. Hear what Nikola Popovic has to say at halftime here in about 3 minutes, plus whatever stoppage time is allotted, maybe 1 minute, I'd say.
Yeah, he's looked a pretty frustrated figure down there in the technical area. He just, not happy, I think, with the way this first 45 minutes have gone. Certainly, I think the goal was preventable. You dealt with the first header, and you just allowed the ball to get played back into the danger area of that 6-yard box, and nobody reacted quicker and goal scorer Roberts did. So I'm sure at half time he will have a few things to say with regards to how this first 45 minutes has gone for the Ottawa Fury.
Fury throw here in the 44th minute. Eddie Edward. Edward gets it back to Adakora, now Mayer Jaguar. Across the halfway line, wide left for Onwo Bassi. Mayor Giguère. Over the top towards Adonai Jareed, and out comes Lind to scoop it up for Pittsburgh.
You know, AJ, I mean, fair play to Pittsburgh the way they've set up here this afternoon. They've realised that Reid and Haworth are the two danger men with regards to the pace down the flanks, and they're doing a terrific job of making sure that on most occasions when either of them have the ball at their feet, it's a 1v2 situation.
Mayor Giguère, what a break there for Ottawa as Mayor Giguère's header went awry, and that effort from distance.
It's a decent effort.
Yeah, it was.
It
from
really
Nico
was.
Brett, but just unable to find the target as he looked to catch Ottawa napping.
That's exactly what happened. I think Crépeau was well positioned for it, but if he was able to get the outside of that right foot, AJ, to put some spin on the ball, I think he just caught it sweetly and it went straight as an arrow. And unfortunately for Pittsburgh, it went about 3 or 4 feet wide of the left-hand post.
Bossy sends it forward, and Kézil now to Cristiano Francois. And this will roll out for an Ottawa throw. So we will get a minimum of 1 minute of stoppage time here as the 45 just about complete. And confirmation of that right now from the fourth official.
Well, decent work there by Carl Haworth, just tracking his man all the way back into the penalty box, AJ, and he was able to get the ball out off the Riverhound player, Luban.
Francois towards Parks. This goes out for a Pittsburgh throw. Here's Parks. Knocked away, and this is kept in by Francois. The cross in and headed away by Mayor Giguère. As Ottawa looks to quickly counter towards the end of the first half, but it's won back by Conardo Forbes. Pittsburgh one last attack here before the break. Good work by Eddie Edward to stand up his man, Cristiano Francois, and that's a pretty good first half from the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, who lead it 1-0. It's now for Ross Video here from the head coach, Nikola Popovic.
All right, Coach, so regardless of the score, there was some great things happening out on that field. What does Fury need to continue doing moving forward into the second half?
I think we have to push forward. We have to create more chances, be a little bit more aggressive, and try to find the last third and chances to score goals.
Perfect. So do you foresee any major changes needing to happening in your play in order to take the lead in this game?
No, not yet. We are going to try to keep it simple and be a little bit more aggressive on our offensive organization.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Best of luck.
There we hear from Nikola Popovic after the first 45 minutes, and Gord.
You can tell he's disappointed. You can tell whatever he wanted to set out his team in those first 45 minutes, it hasn't worked. And I'm sure there will be some changes at halftime. Maybe he talked about being more aggressive. I think that's all down to Pittsburgh. They're a big physical team that they're winning every single battle, especially when it gets towards their own goal.
All right, coming up, it is our halftime show with a score: Ottawa Fury FC 0 and the Pittsburgh Riverhounds 1. This is Ottawa Fury FC Soccer.
Did you know the Brick is 100% proudly Canadian? We employ over 5,000 Canadians, and nobody knows more about furnishing Canadian homes at the guaranteed lowest price than us. Saving you more. It's not just a slogan. Saving you more is our obsession.
Hey, Impreza. What's new?
Well, I've got this available reverse automatic braking feature.
Oh.
When I reverse, I can automatically brake if I'm about to hit something.
All I do is beep.
Subaru
Beep.
Impreza.
Beep. Ouch.
Gabriel Pizza, proud supporter of local sports. Gabriel Pizza, home of the bigger, better pizza. 310-7777 or GabrielPizza.com.
What do you live for? Is it for your crew? For overcoming obstacles? Live for what you want. So what do you live for?
1-0 at halftime as the Riverhounds lead Ottawa Fury FC here after 45 minutes. Look at the kids having fun there in the kids zone. That bouncy castle might be just a little bit hot today on what is a scorching afternoon here in Ottawa, Ontario. And during our halftime, we'd like to take a look and feature some of the players of the month in June and take a look at our first player. You might recognize him as a familiar face from the Ottawa Fury FC. Well, we had a good feeling our Callum Irving would be in there, but for some reason he's not. But we think Callum Irving should be a Player of the Month nominee in June. And you take a look, you can vote on the USL website as well to see who the Player of the Month is in June. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue our halftime show. This is Ottawa Fury FC Soccer.
Yeats inside the area. It's Hamilton. What a finish! Jordan Hamilton. What a strike!
Duperski getting in behind.
That ball from Mirkovic. And what an incredible goal from Paraski. Cordell Cato. Oh my goodness! What a finish! Across the middle. Obanawi with the insurance goal. There it is. McInerney, good looking ball. Jack McInerney. Just digs it back in. Flicked on. Krisnenko. Brody inside the 18. Brody shot and a goal. Andrew Brody puts the Monarchs ahead in the 8th minute of play. This one sent in. Great effort! Tampa Bay equalize in the 90th. It's Damo Duro in his rowdy debut. Obi steps in. Obi shooting! Saved by Lynn! He protected the 2 points!
Looking overlapper on the cross, volleyed in, and beautifully saved.
Stepping forward, header is saved! Vaughn Williams just barely knocking it away from Doyle.
Brandon Allen! Garces kept it out.
Here comes Fresno. Cooper! Safe keeper. Cohen gets in behind. Francois off of Ranjitsing. Francois again. Ranjitsing slaps it away. Lofted over the back line and saved by Pickens as he dives aside.
After 45 minutes, the Pittsburgh Riverhounds with a 1-0 lead over the Ottawa Fury. We're now joined here with Audra Sherman, who is involved in a lot of things going on around here with the Ottawa Fury. But we had a big event yesterday. Tell us a little about it with regards to the OSEG Foundation and what exactly took place right here at TD Place yesterday.
Yeah, so we had our first coaches clinic with the staff, the Ottawa Fury first team staff, Julian de Guzman, Victor, and Yusuf. So it's presented by the OSEG Foundation. And basically we had about 30 coaches come out, go through a day from 9 to 5 of observing the session and then going through on-field session in classroom. And it's a great initiative. It's one of many courses that are going to take place. The Red Blacks hosted one a couple months ago. So it's an investment in our community in the hopes of developing coaches so that in turn we could, give back to our community.
And these are all local coaches from local clubs around the city.
Yes.
What age level are we talking about from a development standpoint? Is it 6-year-olds? Is it 12-year-olds? Is it 15, 18-year-olds? Where are most of these coaches coming from with regards to the level that they're coaching right now?
So it's community-based, so it was between probably the ages of 10 to about 15, 16.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
and so it was just to gather everyone together and show that we're really invested in our community. The OSEG Foundation is really invested as well, and just kind of get them together. And now they're at the game now today and sitting in club seats with us, watching the game. So it was really great.
Hopefully they have some homework to do as well with regards to taking a lot of stats and different things along those lines.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit more about some of the other programs that the Fury are involved in with regards to some of the local areas that you're playing here as well with the foundation.
Yeah, so we also have our Fury Fit. So it's Fury in Training where we go out to local clubs, and we've probably reached about 1,000, 2,000 kids this year just doing programs all over the city. And we have July 29th is our big fun day where boys and girls 6 to 12 will come out, play 5v5 for a whole day with the whole team, the Fury team, so it'll be great.
Very
excited.
Nice. Audra, thank you very much for joining us here this afternoon, giving us an update with regards to some of the stuff the Fury are doing off the field as well as on the field here in 2018. We'll be right back with the rest of our halftime show here at the half. Pittsburgh 1, Ottawa 0. USL Soccer will be back very, very shortly. Stay tuned.
Hey, Impreza. What's new?
Well, I've got this available reverse automatic braking feature.
Oh.
When I reverse, I can automatically brake if I'm about to hit something.
All I do is beep.
Subaru
Beep.
Impreza.
Beep. Ouch. What do you live for? Is it for your crew? For overcoming obstacles? Live for what you want. So what do you live for?
Did you know the Brick is 100% proudly Canadian? We employ over 5,000 Canadians, and nobody knows more about furnishing Canadian homes at the guaranteed lowest price than us. Saving you more. It's not just a slogan. Saving you more is our obsession.
Gabriel Pizza, proud supporter of local sports. Gabriel Pizza, home of the bigger, better pizza. 310-7777 or GabrielPizza.com.
Back inside TD Place, AJ Jakubek and Gordon Smith with you as we get set for second half action shortly. Ottawa Fury FC trailing the Pittsburgh Riverhounds 1-0. And let's get right to the halftime stats. They're brought to you by Ricoh, making information work for Ottawa Fury FC. And there you have it, 58% possession of 42 for Pittsburgh. Shots 3-1 Pittsburgh, shots on target 2-0 Pittsburgh. And I think that pretty much tells it all in the sense that Pittsburgh capitalized on their opportunity. Yeah. There haven't been many in this match, but just very difficult to break down in the opening 45 minutes. What can Ottawa do to break them down in the second half? A team that, hey, this is not something that only Ottawa's had difficulty breaking down, this very stout defensive Pittsburgh side.
A very well organised side as well, and as we said, for the most time when they don't have possession of the ball, there's a string of 5 white shirts, AJ, right across that back line, and that covers every single one of your points. It covers the 2 flanks, it covers the 2 channels, and right down the middle of the park. And it's so difficult when the Fury get the ball in possession, they have a little bit of time, they get the head up. There's 3 on 5 every single time. If Oliveira pushes forward, Dixon pushes forward, now we're creating a 5 on 5. But the 2 holding midfielders drop back as well. So they're a very well organised, a very stingy back 5, and you can see why they're doing so well. The 2 shots they actually had on goal came off the corner kick that Francois whipped him. Here's the first one, a terrific save by Crépeau. And as the play continued, the ball got played out to the right-hand side. And eventually when the ball was played back into the box, just unfortunately, the Ottawa Fury again just nipped in front of the defender, Eddie Edward, just I think a little bit too late reacting to that. And the ball's put into the back of the net by Roberts, and Crépeau, absolutely no chance. He hasn't had an awful lot to do other than those 2 shots on target. I think most of his play has been distribution. A couple of times he's tried to get the ball played down the flanks, and it's just been so difficult. A very, very good road performance by Pittsburgh. He got that goal, not necessarily against the run of play, but when you look at possession, 58-40, it's around where it should be. Pittsburgh, obviously, I think in midfield, they'll have controlled that area of the park far better than the Fury have, and I think that's something that in the second half we may just have to see Dixon or Oliveira dropping a little bit deeper to help out Manila, because right now they're getting overloaded in that middle area, and unfortunately for the Fury, that's where it's breaking down.
Well, we'll see what Ottawa can do here in this second half to try and turn things around, down 1-0 at halftime. As we get set for second half action, the whistle from the referee, Yusri Rudolph, to try and get everyone going here to start the second half. While we have a moment, what a World Cup it's been. It's been a month since our last broadcast.
Yes.
I mentioned off the top of the show, but what a World Cup it's been, and we've got 2 semifinals Tuesday and Wednesday, France and Belgium, England and Croatia. What have you seen from this World Cup, and what excites you about the semis, other than the fact that I know you're cheering hard for England as a good northerly neighbour from Scotland?
Well, I've got to tell you, I think the one thing that's really stood out here is that the gap between the elite teams, the Brazils, the Argentinas, the France, the Germanys, those teams, and the second tier teams that you look at, like a Belgium, Croatia, and I'm going to throw England in there because they haven't really done much in 50 plus years with regards to closing the gap to the top 4. And yes, England played well yesterday. I think they've had a fairly fortunate draw all the way through, the game against Belgium notwithstanding. But, you know, we talked earlier that to win these World Cups or European Championships, during the tournament you have to face some sort of adversity. And every single team that's now in the semi-final has faced the adversity that you would expect a quality championship winning team to go on and win. You look at England, they've had to get through the penalties against Colombia. Croatia had to get through penalties twice just to get to the semi-finals. France, as you'd mentioned earlier on off air, we were talking about it, were actually behind against Argentina, and they had to come back. And of course Belgium down 2-0 to Japan, and every single one of us is looking saying, what's going on here? Japan were absolutely rank outsiders when this thing started, going up against one of the pre-tournament favourites in Belgium. Belgium showed their pedigree coming back with a wonderful winning goal, it has to be said, to make it 3-2. So all in all, AJ, I've been very, very impressed with how this World Cup has played out. Terrific games. I think the fact that we've only had one scoreless game in, what's that now, 60 games or 50 plus games, says an awful lot about how well the football has been at the World Cup here in Russia.
Yeah, 60 matches, 1-0-0. That was Denmark and France.
Which was possibly a pact of non-aggression with regards to, didn't really make any difference. I think both of those teams knew they were going to go through. Looks like we have had a substitution. It looks like he's only been on the field for about a minute or so, and Dobo is now gone to ground and having to get help back up. So we're just trying to see who has come on. It is 27 parts, my apologies. I thought it was 21 that was down there, but he did take a bit of a sore one. Yeah, you saw his planted right foot was on the ground when Obasi, I believe, went, oh my goodness, that could have been almost hyperextended his knee there, but he's back up on his feet, ready to go.
Fury attacking, good ball into Adonai Jareed. Adonai Jareed at the byline and plays it across, and it deflects across the face of goal to Carl Howarth. He gets the cross in, takes a deflection into the arms of the keeper Lynn. So good work by Adonai Jareed at the byline to create something out of what looked like nothing with two defenders right on him.
Yeah, it was good work by Taylor to get the ball to Reed in the first place, and as he cut the ball back, it came off of the defender, number 20, Greenspan. And if that just gets deflected a slight bit more towards goal, we could be looking at 1-1 here very early in the second half. As it is, it's still Pittsburgh with the lead.
48th minute, 1-0 Pittsburgh. And good defending there by Manella as he gains the ball in the Ottawa 18-yard box. The same 11 for each side. Lind for Pittsburgh, the keeper. 5 at the back. Lubon, Roberts, Greenspan, Pratzner, and Dover with and Keazil, Forbes, Brett, and Francois. Parks, the lone striker for Ottawa. And that 4-3-3. Crapo in goal. Bassi, Meyer Jaguar, Adekora, and Edward at the back. Oliveira, Manella, and Dixon in midfield. Reed, Taylor, and Howarth up front. The available subs: Kate Banjo, Raymond Lee, Mohamed Dabo, Dennis Chin, the ex-Fury player, Toby Adewole, Noah Frank, and Michael Kirk. Available for Pittsburgh. For Ottawa, the backup keeper is David Monsalve, and then you've got Christian Portilla, Gabriel Balbinotti, Steven DeSantos, Monty Mosen, Jimmy Shamar, Sano, and Sergio Menicio. Are you thinking maybe Sano with his pace and DeSantos with his size and physicality that can help Fury off the bench here, trying to break Pittsburgh down?
I would expect one of those two to be one of the first two substitutes, AJ. You are correct. Oh, you got to close them down.
Here's a shot from distance, and boy, that was a decent effort from Nico Brett, about 30 yards out. And you're right, just too much space there outside the box for Brett to give it a go.
Yeah, they just stood off him, didn't they? When he obviously he was a bit surprised that he had as much space as he did, 25 yards from goal. And as that ball broke to him here, he just got his head up. Nobody's coming, bang, have a shot. And finally, it was fortunate that it did drift over the crossbar, but you've got to be a lot tighter in the defensive third than that was there.
Dixon wins a free kick for Ottawa. Fury moving right to left in the second half with their black and red home kits, black shorts, black socks. And going left to right with their white shirts, black numbers, black shorts, white socks. Pittsburgh getting 1-0 on that goal from Hugh Roberts in the first half, as this will go out for a goal kick. And you can see a couple of times Ottawa showing their frustration. There's a prime example there from Carl Howarth, as after he couldn't keep it in play, he boots it almost into, what do we call that again?
Don't quite know.
I had a name for it. I got to come up with it again.
What, the
Cheapskate Hill.
Cheapskate Hill. There you go. I'm sure there'll be a big fence getting put up for next year.
Here's Howarth now pushing forward. Through ball from Oliveira just doesn't come to Taylor. And Francois down the left is fouled by Jamar Dixon.
Possibly could be a yellow. He's calling them towards him. But that last occasion there, when Oliveira was working a little bit of magic there, trying to spin, there was 5 white shirts around them, AJ. They had absolutely no room to move. And I think that's the one thing that's really impressed me here this afternoon with Pittsburgh. Defending in numbers, every single area of the park, inside their own half especially. There's always 2-on-1, 3v2, 4v2. They never allow themselves to be overrun in numbers. I think that's a testament to the work rate that these lads are putting out there. It's just up to the Fury to try and break that down. How do you break that down? You've got to get the ball in behind them. If they're playing a higher line, AJ, get a quicker ball played through. Possibly have Taylor, you're talking about the Santos maybe coming on at some point. Have him play right up on the shoulder of Greenspan. Don't allow Greenspan all sorts of time. The Fury are just backing off and allowing this to happen. All sorts of time in the back line for Pittsburgh to find where they're going to make that next pass.
Slide challenge there from
Offside.
Thomas Mayer-Jaguar, and the flag is up against Cristiano Francois, who created the first goal from Hugh Roberts here today. 53rd minute, 1-0 Pittsburgh.
Well, the fans are normally quite loud and quite boisterous, AJ. I don't think they've had an awful lot to get them excited about here this afternoon. We really need to see something from the Fury, a decent attack, a good shot on target, a save by the keeper to bring them back to life. And obviously the conditions with the heat, nobody's wanting to be jumping up and down like a madman, but you've got to try and get something to get this crowd engaged again, get them back in to the way things were in that first 15-20 minutes.
Beautiful day in Canada's
in
capital.
the neighborhood.
29 degrees, partly cloudy, and certainly a little bit easier to deal with in terms of humidity. 30% humidity today.
Yeah, it's not bad.
So not like what we saw last week, where you had temperatures in the mid-30s Celsius and humidity well over 50%. A lot more manageable for the fans, and certainly I think for the players as well.
Well, the Fury tried that long ball again, but it was far too close to the 18-yard box. The back four that you're trying to play a ball up and over are set up 20, 25 yards away. That ball was always going to make it into the keeper. At that point, you've just got to play keep away, get out to the flank, see if you can get Adonijah Reid and Carl Howarth involved, because unfortunately, they just haven't had a chance.
Cristiano Francois running miles again, but unable to keep this in play. It'll be an Ottawa throw. Again, Ottawa in action again on Saturday at home against Penn FC. Team that right now is in the last playoff spot on 25 points. Ottawa 4 back with a game in hand that they're using up this afternoon. It would be huge. I'm with you. I never came into this match today thinking it's 3 points or bust, and certainly season isn't on the line today. It's not like you could say it's an absolute must win, but boy, it'd be nice to get a point and maybe get a win next week and at least be level on Penn FC with points. Maybe some other teams that are 9, 10, 11 push ahead of you, but if you can push closer to a playoff spot with a draw and a win next week, that would be huge. It's still a lot of work to do just to get one here today against this stout Pittsburgh team, looking for their 5th straight clean sheet as they push it forward to Romeo Parks. Jamaican international couldn't get beyond Atacora. It's headed back towards him. Plays it wide left for Francois, but out of his reach, and this will be an Ottawa throw in the 55th minute. Fury trailing 1-0.
They're very easy on the eye, aren't they? I mean, you sit and watch, and every single one of these lads in a white shirt, that they're comfortable on the ball, left foot, right foot, doesn't really make any difference. But the one thing that's really impressing me is the work rate, that they're working so hard for each other that it makes it easy as a team to defend.
Give the ball away easily here, but Dixon, I think he mishit that. He was looking to get a diagonal ball for Adonijah Reid, and it went straight on him, right to the keeper, Lind. Fury able to get possession back. And here's Dixon again, center circle. Mayer-Jaguar, the back for Atacora. Plays it back to the keeper, Maxime Crépeau. Thomas Mayer-Jaguar. Manella back to Atakora. Sends it forward. Making the run is Jamar Dixon, and he runs into the keeper Lind, and that'll be a free kick for Pittsburgh.
Well, that's the midfield runs you need to get from Dixon and from Oliveira. But again, it's going to be really tough when that defence realises that a long ball's coming, AJ. They're just dropping back 5 yards, and the gap between the goalkeeper and your back five is so small and so narrow now that it has to be a pinpoint perfect ball played from the back, and the runner has to just time his run to perfection.
Cristiano Francois making a run here, and good work from Eddie Edward heading it back to the keeper, Crépeau. Comes now to Carl Howarth. And he's fouled, so this will be a free kick. 40 yards out.
Yeah,
near touchline.
I don't think Luban was in agreement that was a free kick. I think he was just, when he turned around, his arms were just sort of out there to hold his ground, and yeah, he did seem to catch Carl with the left elbow as Haworth was trying to run in behind him, but it's all about the quality of this ball getting played into the box.
About 30 yards out, gets a bit of a break. I think the foul was committed a little further back, but off the Haworth delivery, it's cleared out, back to the halfway line. Fury have it. It's Eddie Edward.
Yeah, you've got all your big lads still up there. You needed to get that ball back into the box as early as possible. Now you've got Giguère and Atakora have now made their way back to their defensive positions. AJ, I would like to have seen that ball played in quicker. You had numbers in the box. Let's try and create a little bit of confusion if you can in that Pittsburgh back line.
There's Giguère wide left now for Obasi. Trying to spring Adonai Jareed. Comes back to Reed off of him, and this will be a Pittsburgh throw. 58th minute, 1-0. Pittsburgh leads. Be interesting to see what Nikola Popovic decides in terms of substitutions.
I would expect one fairly soon, AJ, because nothing's worked here in the second half.
Here's Francois making a run, lays it off on the left. Luban with the shot, and a good save near post, putting his right hand up and sending it back for a corner is Maxime Crépeau.
Well, everyone in the stadium, AJ, was expecting that ball to get cut back to the edge of the penalty box, but he took a quick shot, and that was labelled into the top-hand corner. Crépeau with an excellent stop. You see, even Crépeau, I think, was creeping towards his left. His balance was taking him towards the penalty spot. Excellent stop.
Right-footed in-swinger here off the corner from Cristiano Francois, and that's headed away near post. Jamar Dixon with the clearing header there as Pittsburgh plays it back to their keeper Daniel Lind. 60th minute, 1-0 Pittsburgh, and let's head down for a pitch side update. Here's Tyler McDonald.
Thank you very much, AJ, and just Steven Dos Santos on the Ottawa Fury FC bench. He had some tape work done on his right hamstring and just put his jersey on beside me, so it looks like he'll be heading on for Ottawa Fury. We'll see who will be taking off here in a moment, but another big attacking forward coming in for Fury FC, trying to counter the big D for Pittsburgh. Back to you guys.
Yeah, no surprise there. Steven Dos Santos making his way to get some final instructions here.
Yeah, and I think you were putting Taylor in to possibly take advantage of his pace. But the way the game has unfolded, AJ, you really haven't had that opportunity again to get that penetration in behind. I think we saw once earlier in the first half when he got in behind the back five, but after that it's been a closed shop for him this afternoon, and I'm sure it's been a frustrating 60 minutes plus. And unfortunately for Taylor, possibly he may, if you're taking off Haworth or Reed, Taylor might be coming out to a wide position, and Dos Santos obviously is going to go down the middle. But I'd like to see Dos Santos push right up on Greenspan in the middle of the park. You've got a big lad at 6'6". Dos Santos is now shrinking violet. He's got to get in there and put himself about the big lad and make it difficult. And above all else, try and gain that area you lost.
Obasi with a good ball down the left for Adonai Jareed, and this is sent out for an Ottawa throw. And I think now we'll see substitution with Steven DeSantos in, and I think Carl Howarth's going to be the one coming out.
Yeah, he'll hand the captain's armband to Jamar Dixon.
So Howarth out and DeSantos in for Ottawa, their first of 3 possible subs.
And it has been a frustrating afternoon. 61 minutes gone, and what usually is the bread and butter of your team, which is wide play, AJ. Pittsburgh have just done such a tremendous job of making it difficult for the Fury to attack down the flanks, forcing them down the middle most of the time. And Adonijah and Carl, unfortunately, have had fairly quiet games 61.5 minutes into this match.
Adekora now. Ahead towards Adonijah Reed, looking to make a quick turn and knocked off the ball. And now a free kick awarded Ottawa's way in the 62nd minute, down 1-0. So work it wide left for Obasi, just inside the Pittsburgh half. Lays it back into his own half for Meir Jaguar. Into the middle, Manella. For Nana Adekora. Back to the keeper, Crépol. Out of Meir Jaguar. Wide left, Obasi. Meir Jaguar. For Adekora. Ahead towards Adonijah Reed, and this is headed out by Luban for an Ottawa corner. They've had no shortage of set pieces. Just haven't been able to do much with them.
Well, that's what you're hoping on that long ball. Either you're going to get the ball landing at the feet of a black and red shirt, or it goes out for a corner kick, and it allows you a chance now to bring Adekora, Jaguar, and DeSantos, your big lads, with a chance to attack the ball. With this Pittsburgh team themselves, AJ, very well organised. Looks like they've got a zonal marking along the 6-yard box, and then man-to-man at the edge of the 18.
Kevin Oliveira with the right-footed outswinger, and it's headed towards goal. DeSantos, and it looked like it took a deflection, and this is going to be another corner for Ottawa. As you can just see already the presence of Steven DeSantos in that 18-yard box creating difficulties. So they'll do it again, another right-footed outswinger from the far corner flag. Kevin Oliveira with referee Yusri Rudolph directing traffic inside the 18-yard box.
You know, we've seen so much of this clutching and grabbing going on in the last month or so, and I'm sure the referees have been instructed to clamp down on it even here.
Here's the delivery from Oliveira. And man went down in the box, but that was Obasi. Referee not seeing anything, and it will be an Ottawa throw.
Yeah, that ball played a little bit deeper there. There wasn't as many Fury players at that back post area. I think the first one that was almost right around the penalty spot area, AJ, was a far better directional corner. Get in there and give DeSantos a chance to attack it.
DeSantos called for the foul. Free kick here for Pittsburgh, 65th minute, 1-0 Riverhounds. Can Ottawa find a way to end one of these streaks? 5 games unbeaten. Unbeaten in all 7 of their matches on the road. Unbeaten in 11 all-time against Canadian clubs. 4 straight clean sheets. All those streaks on the line here today for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Now they'd settle just for just to get rid of that clean sheet run, which started at the day at 397 minutes, and we're now at 462.
And we remember the Fury went on a bit of a run like that themselves, didn't they? And then, unfortunately, I think they lost 2 of their next 3. So it's nice to have these streaks, but above all else, you've got to maintain your system. You've got to maintain what the coach is setting you out to do, and don't deviate from that over the course of 90 minutes when adversity kicks in.
Here's Cristiano Francois, dangerous down the left. Adonijah Reed all over him, and
that was out.
Looked like it was out. He's able to play it inside the 18-yard box, and now, the effort from Van Keaziel.
I tell you what, AJ, that would have been disastrous for the Fury. It definitely did look as if the ball had gone out from Francois. A little bit of trickery play there, but play was allowed to continue. Here we see it. That ball's definitely out by at least 6 inches.
Got to wake up.
Yeah. Yeah, certainly was well out, and neither the official on the far side. No, to be fair to him, he's looking all the way across. He's got the goalpost in his way, and he's looking almost 55, 60 yards away, but still, somebody needs to make the correct decision.
Now Fury attacking, and it's an opportunity for Kevin Oliveira. Adonijah Reed was unmarked on the right-hand side, and he was screaming for the ball, but Ottawa still able to break down Pittsburgh a little bit better so far in the second half. They've had a couple of half chances at least.
But it was the first real chance they've had an opportunity of possession inside the 18-yard box, and I think a lot of us were expecting Oliveira to pull the trigger right away. He decided to cut back onto his left, and at that point again 2 defenders closing him down, just couldn't get the shot away. But as you're building up a little bit better, I think the introduction of Dos Santos, just playing right up, and we mentioned it earlier, but before the substitution was made, get him right up on the shoulder of the back 5. Don't have such a gap like Taylor unfortunately was having to play, when he was having to come a little bit deeper to help out, win the ball and get the ball into the attacking third. Dos Santos, just a bull in a china shop, get him in there, get shoulder to shoulder with the big lad Greenspan in the centre of defence.
Diagonal ball goes over the head of Adonijah Reed, so we've got a Pittsburgh throw here inside their own half. One back by Eddie Edward, now to Meyer Giguère. He'll play it back to the keeper, Crépeau. Parks pressuring him as Crépeau plays it on the left for Obasi, but back comes Pittsburgh down the right side. Ball played into the 18-yard box, headed away by Obasi. This will be a Riverhounds throw. Once again, Pittsburgh wins the throw as we head it down to pitch side, and here's Tyler McDonald.
Thank you very much, AJ. And just on terms of Ottawa Fury, we know Coach Nikola Popovich, we've noticed Pittsburgh being the ones pressuring the ball when Fury have possession. Well, now that he's trying to do the opposite, and what really came back to the roots and when they had that streaks going is that the top 3 of Ottawa Fury FC pressuring the back 4 of the opposition in terms of trying to cause those turnovers. In Pittsburgh now, we're also going to see a double substitution. Dabo and Lee will be coming on for the Riverhounds. The C will be coming off here in just a few moments, but a double substitution coming on for Pittsburgh. Back to you guys.
Raymond Lee and Muhammad Dabo both warming up on the touchline.
And just to Tyler's point there about a little bit more pressure being on the back 4, that's naturally going to happen with Dos Santos being up so far on the back 5 with Greenspan. It's forcing now the Riverhounds, AJ, to possibly come a little bit deeper, and it's going to allow Oliveira and Dixon to push forward maybe into those channels, get some success, get on the end of some of these balls that are getting played through.
Played up over the top on the left-hand side. Here's Tony Taylor. Pratzner defending, waits for support, and no support for Tony Taylor, and this goes out for an Ottawa throw.
And again, there's that 1v2 situation every single time a Fury player gets into the attacking third with what he thinks is some time and some space, AJ, it's getting closed down. And that becomes really frustrating at some point because you're really not able to create anything now inside the attacking third.
Eddie Edward plays it forward and wins a throw. Well, second substitution that I thought would likely feature in this match, that's Jimmy Chamar-Sanon, is getting ready to come on for Ottawa. So no surprise that he will give it a go the last 20 minutes plus stoppage time here. And
the only question
his pace is something that can create some difficulties for that back line for Pittsburgh.
The only question is which one's coming off. Is it going to be Taylor or is it going to be Reed? Certainly that's where Sanon will go in a wide position to try and get, as you mentioned, moving his pace, using his pace. So it will be Adenijah Reed we're hearing that will be coming out. So it's been a frustrating afternoon for the young lad, and he just hasn't been able to stretch his legs at any time, AJ. We've seen him so often in games this season just be able to turn the game on its head with his skill and his pace and his ability, and unfortunately he looks a very frustrated figure out there, just knowing that the 71 minutes just hasn't been his afternoon.
Pittsburgh still awaiting the substitutions from them, as Bob Lilly still giving direction to Mohamed Dabo and Raymond Lee, but the second substitution of the day for Ottawa has been made. Sanon, the Haitian international, and off goes Adenijah Reed. Fury in possession here. It's Dixon. Out of Manila.
There's still lots of time, AJ, for the Fury to get something out of this match. You've now made 2 substitutions to your striker lines. A little bit too heavy there with the ball played through, but you can see now that that is going to be the point of attack. Let's get the ball out to Jimmy Sanon if we can, and if he's able to get in the back with his lightning pace, it may create something to cut back for Dos Santos. But you've taken off 2 of your attacking 3, you brought on another 2 to replace them, and you're just hoping that something goes your way here to pick up what would be a very valuable point against the second place team in the Eastern Conference.
So the 2 players coming off are Nico Brett and Cristiano Francois. And on come Raymond Lee, the American, another ex-Rochester Rhino, and Mohamed Dabo, Senegal under-17 international.
Yeah, it's funny how things go. I mean, the first half, Brett and certainly Francois down the left-hand side for Pittsburgh were in a lot of cases just carving open the back 4 of the Fury. But here in the second half, the Fury tightened up a little bit. There's a bit of a swing there with the elbow, with the arm, but tightened up a little bit. Eddie Edward down the right-hand side for the Fury had Francois pretty well marked in the second half. And over on the far side, Brett was pretty much non-existent, AJ, but for 1 or 2 runs that he was able to get on the end of long balls played through. So the Fury back 4 themselves have done a better job here in the second half, but it's all about what you do in front of goal, and unfortunately from open play, AJ, it's been pretty flat for them here 73.5 minutes into the game.
And I think with Raymond Lee, I mean, you're bringing on as Fury look to attack here. They get it wide right for Jimmy Sanon. He'll play it back to Eddie Edward. Edward gets it to the halfway line, and Adekora. Too much going back for Ottawa. I mean, they seem to, whenever they seem to get forward, they're just regrouping, and next thing you know, they're back in their own half.
Well, you know the game that the Coach Popovich wants is it's about possession, maintain possession, and if you get to a certain point in the park area of the field that you can't advance anymore, then instead of playing a 50-50 ball into the box and just hoping that you get on the end of it, you just maintain the possession. You know, you start a second wave, possibly a third wave of attacks coming in. Yeah, sometimes it does look as if it's you know, you are going backwards, which of course you are, but you're maintaining possession, and when that one pass finally does come off, AJ, that's what we're all looking for. Oh dear.
Throw here for
and
Pittsburgh, but here's my point. I just think once you get, now we're in the 75th minute and you're down a goal, that's if it's 1-1 or you're up 1-0, it's different, but
I think the one thing we are going to notice is the urgency in the Ottawa Fury play inside these final 15 minutes is going to have to get stepped up.
That's my point.
Yeah,
there's got to be a little bit more urgency to push forward here now that you're, again, if you're in the 15th minute or the 30th minute or even the 60th minute, but we're in the 76th minute now.
And a lot of the closing down that we're seeing now here from Dixon, Dos Santos, Sanon, it just wasn't there, certainly in the first half. So now you're trying to change things a little bit on the fly to see what you can get turnovers if you're able to produce those.
Good work there from Chris Manella to win it, but just couldn't feed Steven DeSantos. It's the through ball attempt for DeSantos. It's broken up by big Joe Greenspan, who still hasn't been on the pitch for a goal against this year, and that's well over 500 minutes from Joe Greenspan. That's quite the run.
It is a remarkable run because, you know, you're coming up against some fairly decent teams over the last little while that you played. Charleston Battery, Louisville, you know, these are teams that can score goals. They're also teams that know how to break down defences, and you're a big lad right in the middle of the park there on the ball right now, and he's just marshalling everything left and right and in front of him, and there's obviously a reason why he's a bit of a lucky charm when he's on the park.
Ball comes wide left as Pittsburgh attacking through Raymond Lee. Atakora wins it back and comes back to the keeper, Crépeau, as we're about to enter the 78th minute. Pittsburgh leading 1-0. And they win a header here, although a free kick given. Tony Taylor fouled in the air, and Ottawa with a free kick inside their own half. As here comes substitution number 3 for Ottawa. It will be Christian Portilla coming on.
It looks like Kevin Oliveira is coming out. Yeah.
Replaced by Christian Portilla.
Portilla's more of a holding midfielder, whereas Oliveira's an attacking midfielder, so I just wonder if Dixon now will be asked to push even further up the park as the Fury try to salvage something here this afternoon. 7 to 8 minutes gone, they're down 1-0. And they've just got to try and get some penetration here in this back five because it's been so difficult for them all afternoon.
Manella pushing forward as Portilla maintains his typical role as a holding midfielder as Ottawa gets it back into their own half. Here's Atakora. Now to Dixon. Diagonal ball left. Obasi. Played wide right for Eddie Edward, and that's read well by Raymond Lee, and Pittsburgh looks to catch Ottawa on the counter. Luban for Lee. Offside. Roberts, and the flag is up for offside, and Ottawa with 11 minutes plus stoppage time to salvage something here today.
Well, a couple of times now the Fury have played, you know, nice. Atakora's just getting into it there with Parks. Parks just wants to stand in front of the ball and not get the play underway. Atakora obviously wants to quickly get the ball into the attacking third if he can, but unable to do so. A couple of nice diagonal balls with Eddie Edward, Obasi and what have you, but when you're up against the back five, it doesn't really create much because the back five are pretty much set in their way with regards to where they're located on the park. If it was a back four, AJ, that had moved across to the left side, when you switch it over to the right, it might not be as quick for them to transition to the other side. But when you've got five at the back, you've got two wide players already, and the left back down here, down this left side, was easily made that read the last time it was played.
Sent forward. Good run by Jimmy Sano as he got in behind Roberts and just couldn't catch up to that. Got a quick touch on it, but unable to keep it in play. Goal kick, but there's the pace of Jimmy Shamar Sano creating some difficulties for the Pittsburgh back line.
I think on that ball played through, his first touch had to be a shot. I think if he tried to bring it down, the distance it was coming, the pace it was coming at, AJ, it was always going to be difficult, and that what happened exactly was going to always occur. But I think if he's able to get that first touch as a shot or a header on target, who knows what may have happened.
Luban. Flag is up, offside against Pittsburgh here. 10 minutes plus stoppage time remaining. Ottawa's used all three of their subs, and we'll see what they can do to try and get a point here in the last 10 minutes as we head down to pitch side. Here is Tyler McDonald.
Thank you very much, AJ, and once again instructions coming from the Pittsburgh Riverhounds bench, and really we're going to try and look and see and notice now them making their runs noticing that the Ottawa Fury FC back four is getting a little tired and, of course, naturally pushing more forward since they are attacking. Look for the counterattack. Look for these long balls coming in and try and beat the back four on a break. Back to you guys.
Pittsburgh throw here inside the Ottawa half.
I think most of the second half has been exactly that, AJ. They're just, defending 10 players inside their own half, and on the break, they're trying to get 1v1 situations either down the middle or down the flanks, and they're quite happy to play that type of game, see it out for these final 10 minutes plus stoppage time.
Here's Forbes. Canardo Forbes with a shot just to the edge of the 18, and that's stopped by Maxime Crépeau, and quickly looks to catch Pittsburgh. And again, I think this is what you have to do, is quickly counter when you get possession to try and break them down. Good run down the left from Taylor, trying to feed DeSantos in the middle, and it will be an Ottawa throw.
But again, when that ball got played in, it was 1v4, 4 white shirts, 1 black shirt. Jimmy Sanau was playing possibly at the edge of the 18-yard box for a deeper ball getting played in, but nice break down the left-hand side came from goalkeeper Crépeau with a lovely 70-yard kick out from the edge of his 18-yard box all the way to Taylor on that left side.
Adekora for Portilla. Lays it back to Mayer Jaguar. Wide left Obasi. Portilla moves this into the middle, stepping up Greenspan, and he'll clear it back into the Ottawa half. Adekora. Played by Dixon ahead to Sanon. Very lively off the bench to start as it comes wide right for Edward. Back into his own half as he was closed down. Here's Adekora.
We're now 83 minutes into this match, and I just can't believe the fitness levels that Pittsburgh are able to continue. I know they've made some substitutions, AJ, but they just seem to be hounding every single time in the midfield third. There's 2-3 shots going towards the ball, and to maintain that for this long a time, for the heat that we've been playing in, is tremendous. And a lot of that certainly goes towards their shutout streak and how well they're playing. These 3 points would move them within 1 point of FC Cincinnati at the top of the table with a game in hand. So all going to plan for Pittsburgh on a 2018 season that started off for them with 2 0-0 ties, and then it's just picked up from there. The Ottawa Fury, as we said, 5, 6, 7 minutes left. Eddie Edwards picked up a little bit of an injury, and the Fury themselves, I think, will just have to. It's always tough when you talk about it with the schedule. It's always tough. Now, we know it's not like a hockey team going on the road for 7 or 8 games, AJ, because they are coming home. But it's the travel. It's the travel that you've got, and you're stuck in airports, and you're waiting for a flight, and things are delayed, and you're getting taken out of your routine. I mean, sports players are creatures of habit. They just want things to happen at the same time, and when you're not able to do that because you're on the road, you're away, you can't get comfortable in a bed, you're sleeping, whatever. All teams face that. But the first game back in front of your own crowd is always tough. There's always some sense of expectation, and unfortunately for the Fury, just came up a little bit flat here this afternoon with regards to the creative sense in the attacking third, and now they're looking down the barrel of a 1-0 loss. If nothing changes inside these final 5 minutes plus time added on. Looks like a shoulder injury there to, is it Parks? Yeah.
So it looks like Parks will come off, an ex-Fury player, played 15 games with Ottawa Fury before, scored 1 goal. Dennis Chin, the Jamaican, replacing Romeo Parks.
If I remember right, it was a fairly decent goal as well. He scored it on at the edge of the sort of 18-yard box, maybe 5 yards in. I think it may have been a winner or a 2-0, a second goal and a 2-0 and a 2-1 win. But either way, it's nice to see ex-players coming back and seeing them continue their careers after they've left Ottawa, no matter where they're going.
Ball in the air, headed forward by Jimmy Sanon. It comes back to Jamar Dixon. His ball
Yeah, I think
threading the needle, and one man to his left and one man to his right, and it went straight forward, and the keeper, Daniel Lind, easily scoops this up in the 86th minute, Pittsburgh leading 1-0.
I think he was hoping Taylor to come in around the back of the fullback, and unfortunately it didn't happen.
Let's head down for another update. Here's Tyler McDonald.
Yeah, Parks, who just came off for for Pittsburgh, now has the Pittsburgh and Ottawa doctors around him. He's collapsed on the Pittsburgh bench here just in front of me. He's moving and it has some motion, but I'm not sure if it's dehydration or what's going on with him, but some serious trouble here and some concern over on the Pittsburgh bench. Up to you guys.
Well, hopefully he's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Again, a very warm day, up to 31 degrees.
I thought initially, AJ, when he was coming off, it looked like he was holding his right shoulder. And I just wondered if maybe that's what they're trying to do. Maybe if it's dislocated, trying to pop it back in or something. But yeah, that would. He is lying down prone on the deck. The trainer for Pittsburgh is heading in to get something, and as you said, the Ottawa trainer working on him as well. But a good opportunity here, 87th minute for the Fury now. We need a good delivery into this box.
For our American viewers, 31 degrees, 88 Fahrenheit, so it is a warm one, although not quite the humidity that we saw last week here when it was in the 90s, and humidity was well over 50%.
Let's say bad.
Yeah. Well, here's the delivery on this free kick towards the back post, and DeSantos couldn't keep it in play as just a little too much on that delivery from Portilla. 88th minute, 1-0 Pittsburgh, and a goal kick for the Riverhounds.
Yeah, it just was not the best of deliveries at all. You're trying to put that ball into the penalty spot area, AJ, and let these big lads attack it. And when you make the goalkeeper's job easy by putting it into touch, it's just a bit of a waste with regards to the delivery that you were looking for, you were expecting.
Lubon. His ball goes off Eddie Edward, and it's played back to the keeper, Crepeau, by Sano. Pushing forward here, good run by Manella. Plays this wide left for Tony Taylor. Can he keep it in play? No, he can't. So Ottawa looked to have broken down Pittsburgh a little on the counter and just unable to keep it in play.
Yeah, it's definitely, just looking down at the bench there right now, it's definitely a shoulder area injury, or possibly the neck, his right side, and I just wonder if he's just stretched that a little bit or pinched a nerve or something, but he's now sitting on the bench anyway, so nice to see that he's back up, not lying on the deck.
Romeo Parks, you're mentioning. 89th minute. Does Ottawa have some late drama in them to earn a point? Laid forward, and this will go out of touch as shepherded out by Eddie Edward, and goal kick for Ottawa Fury in the 90th minute. Down a goal to nil. Launched forward by Crepeau. Header won by Obasi.
Offside.
And the flag is up.
Just a wee bit early with his run there. I think if the ball had gotten there before it was flicked on, he may have been okay, but the minute the second touch came and was flicked on, it unfortunately put him in an offside position, and the Fury once again have a...
Tony Taylor called for the offside, so we'll wait and see what we have for stoppage time. Yeah, 3 minutes of stoppage time. I was going to say it feels like 3.
The game's kind of petered out in these last 10 minutes, AJ, hasn't it? It just, obviously Ottawa trying to push forward a little bit more, but just that final ball into the box just hasn't been there all afternoon. And Pittsburgh are more than happy just to see this game out and fly back south with 3 very, very important points for them.
Well, it certainly doesn't feel like an equalizer is coming given the 90, but we'll wait to see if Ottawa can find some late drama here as Pittsburgh just trying to kills some time on the corner flag. Ottawa wins it back. It comes towards DeSantos. He's clearly fouled. Free kick Ottawa, but inside their own half. They'll have to take it quickly as DeSantos gets up and is limping a little as he
just get everybody forward. There's no need to keep 4 defenders back here. You've got to get a goal. Whether you lose 2-0 or not, with a goal difference right now of -7, doesn't really make an ounce of difference. Get that ball into the box.
Sent forward here, edge of the area. Header won by DeSantos as it comes back free on the right side. Here's DeSantos, right-footed shot, and it doesn't get through as it was chipped over the keeper, but DeSantos couldn't get that on target, and Ottawa desperate for this equalizer as Sano is knocked off possession.
Well, that was the one chance, AJ, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You'd flooded the box, you'd done the right thing, you got everybody forward, and the second ball broke, you got it, the third ball broke, you got it, and unfortunately when it came out wide to DeSantos, you just couldn't chip it up and over the goalkeeper. And the ball ended up getting cleared away by Pittsburgh.
Well, about a minute of stoppage time remaining as Crépeau sends it back into the Pittsburgh half. Headed back. This is onside here as Forbes, 10 yards out, gets it onto his right foot. Back onto his left, the shot, and that's blocked. Great work there by Thomas Mayer-Giguère, but what does Ottawa have left? Do they have enough time to mount one last attack as Jamar Dixon is knocked down and he wins a free kick?
Well, we're back to the same situation we had a minute ago. You've got to get the ball into the box. Goalkeeper Crépeau is now coming up as well. We see that last chance there as Giguère, nice little twist. He plays the ball through to DeSantos and he just couldn't get it up and over the goalkeeper.
Someone give him a ball. That's what they're asking for. Give us a ball here.
Now we get 2.
So here it is. This is going to be the last chance for sure. Portilla delivery on the free kick into the 18-yard box. It's headed away. Now it's going to be an Ottawa throw. The 3 minutes is up. What is left here? Manella back to Crépeau, who's beyond the halfway line. He sends it forward on the right, past Adekora, and this is going out for a goal kick. And that's going to be it for Ottawa Fury here today. Final whistle. And Ottawa Fury fall 1-0 to a very resolute, very organized, very disciplined Pittsburgh side. You can see why Pittsburgh is second in the league. You can see why they've got the best defensive record in the league. You can see why they've got the most clean sheets. Now 12. That was a perfect road performance from the Pittsburgh Riverhounds here today. They get the first half goal via a set piece. They really didn't trouble Ottawa too much beyond that, but they didn't need to. 1-0, Pittsburgh gets the road victory here today in Ottawa.
A quality team. I mean, from back to front, goalkeeper playing very well. The back 5 obviously were outstanding all afternoon. It was only late in the match that Ottawa really sort of started to pick up the intensity in those last 10-15 minutes, AJ, and unfortunately just a bit short here this afternoon. Pittsburgh, for me, full value for this 1-0 win this afternoon.
Back with more in a moment. Final score, Ottawa Fury FC 0, Pittsburgh Riverhounds 1. This is Ottawa Fury FC Soccer.
Gabriel Pizza, proud supporter of local sports. Gabriel Pizza, home of the bigger, better pizza. 310-7777 or GabrielPizza.com.
Did you know the Brick is 100% proudly Canadian? We employ over 5,000 Canadians, and nobody knows more about furnishing Canadian homes at the guaranteed lowest price than us. Saving you more. It's not just a slogan. Saving you more is our obsession.
What do you live for? Is it for your crew? For overcoming obstacles? Live for what you want. So what do you live for?
And welcome back inside TD Place. Ottawa Fury FC falling 1-0 at home today to the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, so they remain 4 points out of a playoff spot. The last spot held by Penn FC, and they'll see them next Saturday at home. So, look, this isn't a result that's going to kill their chances in terms of a playoff spot, but certainly a lot of ground to make up the rest of the month with 4 straight home matches in league play after a 1-0 loss to what is clearly one of the best teams in USL.
I would say so. I mean, you know, when we looked at how they set up, they were well organised. They were crisp in their passing. Again, the work rate that I saw this afternoon from Pittsburgh was one of the best work rates we've seen from a USL team coming into TD Place here in 2018. So, if you can't match that, then you're always going to be on the backside of a possible loss. And they got the goal, lovely goal, it has to be said. Unfortunately, from Crepo making the first save, the second one, he just nipped in front of Eddie to get the goal. But the fact of the matter is, I don't think Ottawa, over the course of the 90 minutes, did enough to bother Pittsburgh and pick up anything here this afternoon.
Our man of the match today is Jamar Dixon.
Yeah, I mean, again, a team that's working harder than you have to try and match that. And Jamar always does that. He's always working up and down from 18-yard box to 18-yard box. It was a big ask this afternoon to play against a team that really controlled the game almost from start to finish, outside of maybe about a 10-15 minute spot near the end of the game when the urgency by bringing on DeSantos, by bringing on Jimmyson on, really came to the forefront for the Ottawa Fury. And unfortunately, it just wasn't enough this afternoon. So Jamar, for his 90-minute performance, 18-yard box to 18-yard box, a little foul there, we will give him the man of the match for the Fury.
All right, next broadcast comes to you next Saturday as Ottawa Fury FC takes on Penn FC, and then Nashville and Louisville in the league after that. So 4 straight home matches when you look at Tampa Bay as well after that. And, of course, on July 18th, Toronto FC here for the Canadian Championship. So a lot of home matches to try and make up some ground in USL play, and we'll see if Ottawa can find themselves getting on a roll once again. Yeah,
and against all teams that are above them as well. I mean, Penn, as you said, fairly close to them. Nashville up there. Louisville, obviously, I believe they're third in the league right now. So tough games coming in. Good quality teams coming in that the Ottawa Fury will, you know, this middle of the season run could define how their season is going to go at the tail end of the USL year.
All right, on behalf of our entire crew, our producer Mike Sutherland, along with our fabulous crew Tyler McDonald and Gordon Smith, I'm AJ Jakubek. Hope you enjoyed the broadcast here today. Final score again, Ottawa Fury FC 0 and Pittsburgh 1. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. This has been Ottawa Fury FC Soccer.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League may not be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.